Hey everyone, my name is Peyton Guidry,
My name is Jeremiah Shepherd.
I'm Steven Mondragon.
and this is going to be Esports in Korea, the rise of a gaming powerhouse. Just some little interactive questions to keep in mind. Obviously, as we're going through the presentation, maybe reflect on these questions and stuff like that. One of the questions is, how does esports impact youth culture and also the social interaction between each other? And then also, can esports ever reach the same level of cultural legitimacy as traditional sports such as football, baseball, or basketball? It's going to be a little bit introduction about the Korean esports, how it's the birth of competitive gaming culture, the dominance in global esports. You also have your esports as a national industry and shaping the global esports scene. So before we get into esports and really diving deep into what esports is about, we should reflect on the early political policy that was established in South Korea. In the early 1990s, the Korean politicians began laying the groundwork for an advanced information society through a set of policies known as collectively as Janghwa, or informatization. This was built with the intention of banking the country's long-term economic future on becoming a global center for ICT that could compete with any other nation, and this also led to the establishment of PC bongs. Now, what are PC bongs? PC bongs are South Korean internet cafes built specifically for gaming. They rose to popularity during the 1997 Asian financial crisis when widespread unemployment pushed many towards self employment. Thanks to South Korea's early investment in nationwide broadband, opening a cyber cafe kind of became a very practical business option for a lot of business entrepreneurs. Initially used to monitor the stock market, these cafes quickly shifted focus after the 1998 release of a game called StarCraft, turning into a full-fledged gaming hubs, earning the name PC Bongs. The number of PC Bongs grew from an estimated 100 in 1997 to over 13,000 in just 2 years, which is a crazy number to think about. Now, some of the characteristics of the PC bongs is that PC bongs offered a cost-effective alternative for people who may not be able to afford a high-end gaming setup at home. Nowadays, gaming setups can reach up to about $3,000 just for a decent build. And also, like I said, offers high-performance computers, act as social havens for the younger generations to hang out. You also get food and beverages offered 24/7. So I don't know about y'all, but I think we would be up there very too much. PC bongs also operate on the hourly rate. So most options offer extremely affordable rates, about 1,000 to 1,500 won per hour, which is about 80 roughly to 120 in USD. Though some high-end PC bongs may charge a bit more. So the role of PC bongs is four different things: talent development, community hubs, local tournaments, esports viewings, and culture influence. As in talent development, it nurtures future pro players through constant practice, allows the kids and the people who are wanting to become future gamers to go to these PC bongs and play games to grind out the game and learn and become much better with it. You have community hubs, which encourage team play, strategy sharing, and local rivalries. The local tournaments, most hall competitions, maybe throw a little prize money in there to get a little active in the PC bongs. It also has become one of the esports viewing spaces. Sometimes people go there to watch matches. And then also the culture influence of it is legitimizing gaming as competitive and a social activity. So I mentioned earlier about StarCraft, which helped PC bongs become into what it was today. So StarCraft is essentially a role-playing game that's popularized in esports. It became a sensation in South Korea due to its deep strategic gameplay and balance between its three factions. The game's competitive nature made it perfect for the tournaments and professional play. And these two StarCraft leagues were the most prestigious StarCraft leagues in the early 2000s, which drew massive audience between online and in person, which is the On Game Net Star League and then the NBC Game Star League. Some of the legendary matches that took place from StarCraft, which was Boxer versus Yellow in the 2001 Coca-Cola OSL Finals. It was actually one of the most iconic rivalries in StarCraft history, as Boxer defeated Yellow in a thrilling 3-1 showdown, showcasing incredible microcontrol and creative strategies through Boxer's teamwork. You have Nada versus I Love OOV. Another legendary match between two powerhouse players. I Love OOV is actually Boxer's protege, which he defeated. Nada, proving that a new generation was kind of on the rise. And also, you have another more in the recent history, Flash versus Jaedong, which is 2009. It was considered one of the gravest rivalries in esports, as the two always clashed, together all the time, and they were definitely the most dominant in that era. So, why did StarCraft launch Korean sports? When StarCraft first hit the market, it was played mostly by the adolescent and 20-something-year-old men, who flocked to the PC bonks and had pre-existing interest in digital games. In Korea popular culture, these players were known as Gimmaniak, transliteration of the English word game, and maniac, while the community grew rapidly enough to justify organizing the Korean Professional Gamers League. So through the Korean Professional Gamer League, we had the development of the esports, the Korean Esports Association. The Korean government noticed that the esports scene was blowing up and wanted to get their hand in the pot. It established the Korean Esports Association in the 2000s to regulate and professionalize esports, help creating structured leagues, official rankings, and also sponsorship deals. The responsibilities of the Esports Association is, to standardize league regulations and tournament formats, license professional players and teams, manage disputes and, enforce some disciplinary actions if someone's ever caught cheating. Also securing sponsorships and government funding, and then also collaborating with other organizations such as Riot Game and Blizzard, which are gaming companies. Here are some of the tournament locations, League of Legends Park, the V-Space Esports Arena, Inspired Arenas, and these are actual arenas that people will go pay money just to watch people game, which is kind of crazy to, I guess, the older generation now to watch someone else game rather than actually playing the game. But these matches can get very intensive and actually draws huge crowds because you get to see the strategy and all of the neat and critique plays that these players are making, and you get you get the endorphins from it and the dopamine effect from it because you're so into the game.
감사합니다. You can tell just how big esports is here in Korea because there's an orchestra performance with the country's most renowned classical musicians playing the iconic music from the game League of Legends.
This sort of performance was first held last year. The game's developer, Riot Games, said they've been holding this sort of event after recognizing the growing fan base in Korea.
It's no doubt that Korea is the mecca for esports. There's just so much demand for it. We've seen tickets for this orchestra performance sell like hotcakes since last year. You can sense the excitement as fans dress up as their favorite characters and run out during the intermission to buy merchandise.
Yes, sir. To even have more fun at this event, many fans have dressed up as their favorite game characters. 혹시 오늘 어떤 캐릭터로 오셨을까요?
정령용 애쉬 코스프레 했어요. 저는 모르가나 코스프레 했습니다. 리그 오브 레전드에 케이틀린이라는 캐릭터 있어요.
전 리그 오브 레전드 전투토끼 미포 할 것 같습니다.
그럼 저희 돌아가면서 각자 시그니처 포즈랑 대사할까요?
사람별로 세상을 평정해주지.
날개가 꺾였다고 내 의지까지 꺾인 건 아니야.
오늘 쌍 한마디로 하겠습니다.
Esports are getting more views than many conventional sports. Game research company Newzoo found that by 2018, the number of people who watched esports topped over 167 million people. That's much more than the number who watched Major League Baseball. Since then, esports viewership has jumped by an average 14% each year. That's why esports has been selected as an official medal sport at the 19th Asian Games for the first time ever.
Our country is already well known for its advanced methods of training professional gamers. We will hone this training system by allocating more of our budget and expanding the required infrastructure before the games. We're also hoping to launch more policies that can protect gamers and secure a fair gaming environment. Ultimately, we hope to produce more world-class gamers like Faker.
To live up to the reputation of being the home of esports, Team South Korea is doing its best to prepare for the Asian Games. 신예은, 아리랑 News.
Okay. Now we're going to go into gaming and esports. So some popular formats of Korean esport games are why they're so popular because the games are well matched to the Korean psychological profile. They are stimulating and are really intense. The Korean players are drawn to mentally stimulating games that are offer fast-paced action and high pressure. Esports provides these intense thrills and a high, strong sense of accomplishment, aligning with Korea's preference for challenging and rewarding gameplay. And another thing is that they're also pro team play style. There are a lot of team-oriented games, such as League of Legends and Overwatch, and in Korean culture, they value collectivism over individualism, which is why over here in the West, we look more at Call of Duty and games like that, and over there, they have League of Legends. Um, and success is often seen as a group achievement, promoting synergy and cooperation over personal glory. And Korea's impact on coaching of and global meta is that Korean teams are famous for their disciplined strategic gameplay, and coaches emphasize meticulous planning, analysis, and rigorous structured training regimens. This methodological approach has reshaped global strategies, pushing other regions to adapt some similar tactics to remain competitive. So, League of Legends World Champions. So, the League of Legends World Championship started back in 2012. South Korea has established itself as a dominant force in League of Legends World Championship, securing multiple titles since the tournament's inception. Korean teams have won League of Legends as world champion has won League of Legends World Champion in years of 2013, 14, 15, 16, 17, 2020, 2022, 2023, and 2024, showing how dominant this nation has become in Korean esports with League of Legends. Another game that they really dominate in Overwatch. From the inception of the Overwatch League, South Korean players have been on the forefront. In the inaugural season, they constituted approximately 30% of the league's players, and a figure that rose to 55 by the second season. Notably, 18 out of 20 teams had at least one South Korean player, with 11 teams featuring six or more. Teams like Seoul Dynasty and London Spitfire, which had predominantly South Korean rosters, achieved significant success. London Spitfire, for instance, secured the championship in the league's first season. In Overwatch, one of the characters that's really loved by the community is Diva. Diva, also known as Hannah Song, is introduced as a former professional gamer turned mech pilot. This mirrors South Korea's real-world esports dominance, particularly in games like StarCraft, League of Legends, and Overwatch itself. Diva pilots a cutting-edge mech, symbolizing South Korea's status as a global leader in technology and robotics. Diva's design and personality reflect K-pop and Korean youth trends. Her stylized outfit, makeup emotes, and voice lines draw inspiration from K-pop idols and streamers, both major aspects of Korean pop culture. Despite her fame, Diva is portrayed as someone who is willing to sacrifice comfort for duty, a value deeply rooted in Korean society. These are the teams. Players are assigned multi-year contracts. They're paid a salary based on skill level, experience, and popularity. Prize earnings from tournaments are split between team and players. Players wear branded gear, and they are provided team houses, coaches, analysts, and psychologists for the players. It can be very stressful. How are the teams composed? So, starting with the formation and scouting, professional esports teams in South Korea are often established by large corporations or dedicated esports organizations. These entities scout through various channels. And they also look through online performance. Players who excel in online rankings or ladder systems of popular games can attract attention from scouts. They also by participating and performing well in local or national amateur competitions can serve as a platform for recognition, and consistent high level play showcased on streaming services can lead to discovery by talent by talent scouts. Once identified, promising players may be invited to join training programs or academies associated with professional teams where they receive coaching to hone their skills. For the careers and age, the professional esports scene in South Korea is predominantly young. As of 2023, approximately 36% of professional esports players were between 20 and 21 years old, indicating a slight shift towards older gamers compared to previous years. In 2017, the average age of League of Legends champions was 20.8 years, with the majority between 19 and 22. And with their longevity, the career span of professional gamers tend to be relatively short. In 2024, about 70.3% of active professional players in South Korea reported careers lasting 5 years or less, with an average career length of 4.6 years. And with their income and earnings, with salaries, a significant portion of players receive a base salary from their teams. In 2018, the average salary for League of Legends wait, players was approximately 175 million Korean won, about $155,000 a year. However, this average was influenced by top earners. More than half of the players earn less than 100 million. And they also earn money through prize money. Earnings from tournament victories can be substantial. For instance, in 2023, the top South Korean esports player earned approximately $302,800 in prize money. And with streaming and sponsorships, many players supplement their income through streaming and gameplay and securing sponsorship deals. In 2017, only 8.9% of players had no income outside their salary, indicating the prevalence of additional revenue through streams. So for major tournaments and grand prizes, Valorant Champions 2024, that tournament led up to about $2,250,000. For League of Legends World Championship, the whole tournament composed to $280,000. And for the Global StarCraft League, it was $112 million. And for famous teams in Korean esports, you have T1, Samsung White, Samsung Galaxy, D Plus, Kia, and DRX.
All right, getting into famous esports players. The games are fun to watch, they're interesting, but the players really make the competitive experience. Let's talk about Lim Hyo-hwan, known as Boxer, also known as the Emperor of Terran, or just the Emperor, StarCraft reference. He is one of the first esports superstars, famous for his innovative strategies and microcontrol. He won multiple OSL titles and brought mainstream attention to esports. He married a Korean actress named Kim Gae-yeon, who managed his StarCraft 2 team Slayer S. The two married in 2011 secretly and welcomed a daughter named Marine, nicknamed Marine, in 2016 after the Marine faction in the game. He played StarCraft Brood War in the Air Force, Ace while in the Air Force during his mandatory military service from 2006 to 2008. After the team was created to allow pro gamers like him to compete during their service, he formed a team with the Air Force and played with them while in service, which is kind of a crazy thing. Moving on, we have Lee Young-ho, known as Flash. He's widely regarded as the greatest StarCraft Brood War player of all time. He dominated the late 2000s with his near-perfect execution and decision-making, earning multiple championships. Wasn't quite like Boxer in developing teams himself. He just was an elite player playing at the highest level, and he was well respected for that fact. He became the youngest pro gamer to win a Star League title by winning the Bacchus OSL at age 15. And Flash is the first player in history to reach both individual league finals 3 times in a row, and is the 4th player in history to receive the Golden Mouse after Nada, July, and Jae Dong. And that's kind of just like the Oscars, just sort of like an award show for gaming. And he's one of the players to get one of those, to achieve that. We have Hong Jin-ho, also known as Yellow. He's one of the most famous Zerg players. It's a faction in StarCraft. Known for his rivalry with Boxer, despite being one of the most consistent competitors, he was often the runner-up, earning him the nickname Kong, meaning second place. TV personality, after retiring from pro gaming, he gained popularity on Korean variety shows, especially The Genius. And as for his legacy, he's regarded as a pioneer in South Korean esports and is still beloved figure in the StarCraft community. Just a consistent player, fan favorite.
The sport has just become so much more global.
In the West, if you want to be an esports pro, you'll have to pray to your lucky stars you get a viral clip, or have an org reach out to you. However, in South Korea, to bridge the gap between PC bangs and going pro, they have a system established. Leading us to our second factor, the role of esports academies. Becoming a professional gamer in South Korea is seen as a legitimate career path, where a successful player like Faker is seen and respected as a professional athlete and inspiration for aspiring gamers. Similar to how people respect superstar athletes in traditional sports. Here, esports isn't just looked at as a niche side hobby. It's seen as a career taken seriously.
There you saw Faker. He's the official ambassador for Korean esports for Korea. Um, just Korean players are on another level. As far as televising Korean esports goes, while traditional TV channels like OGN and NBC Game played a key role in early esports, the rise of online streaming platforms has since taken over. It's not like traditional sports where they're broadcasted on networks. A lot of it is online streaming, like Twitch, YouTube, and Africa TV is popular with Korean audiences. And players and coaches abroad, they are highly sought after. So South Korean esports professionals are highly sought after by teams around the world due to their skill, discipline, and game sense. They're among the best in the world, so everyone wants either a coach or a player on their team. Player interest in going abroad. According to a 2020 KOKA survey, over 60% of professional Korean players expressed interest in competing overseas. 72% of those preferred China as their top destination. Coaching talent going global. About 66% of Korean esports coaches showed interest in coaching abroad. 71% of them also preferred Chinese teams. Global impact. This export of Korean talent has helped raise the strategic level and competitiveness of teams in China, North America, and Europe. Many championship-winning rosters across the regions have been built around Korean players and coaching systems, and we're going to get into that a little bit later too. So comparing and contrasting esports with South Korea and other countries. So the top games in South Korea are League of Legends, StarCraft, Overwatch, Valorant. It's a little different in other countries. Those are still big games, but it kind of leans a little heavier on first-person shooter type games like CSGO, Call of Duty, and Fortnite. Tournament style, there's structured leagues via KESPA. They actually have a way of structuring and organizing and regulating tournaments. On other countries, it just depends. It typically is whoever's running the tournament will organize it the way they see fit. Player training, it's taken seriously in Korea. It's full-time. They live in houses, early start generally. Other countries, they have a little bit of that, but also it's a bit freelanced and not as structured. And the culture of esports in Korea, it's mainstream, respected. They have a celebrity status. It's seen as an actual avenue of a career. And other countries, it's getting there, but it's not quite on the same level, and it just sort of depends. So shaping modern esports culture, pioneers in the esports professionalization. South Korea led the way in creating structured training programs and esports academies. The focus on young talent, they tend to be either in high school or sort of young adults. And the institutions nurture those types of players from a young age, developing discipline, strategy, and teamwork early on. The global model, South Korea's academy system has become a benchmark that many other countries seek to replicate, and there's a standardization of training in that they help shape the global standard for what esports training should look like, organized, data-driven, and long-term. And getting more into that, there are esports academies in South Korea that offer structured training programs that combine gaming skills with academic education, training students to play competitive video games at a high level, physical and mental conditioning through fitness programs, guidance in career development and career paths within the esports industry, and the primary demographic is teenagers and young adults. It really is just kind of like a regular school system. There's a lot of support and help in getting you to where you need to be as far as esports and your esports career. And it's seen as like an official avenue for success in a career path. So notable esports academies in South Korea are Genji Elite Esports Academy. They're kind of one of the first, and they were the first to sort of establish themselves as a esports academy, one of the biggest ones. T1 Esports Academy, that's the biggest team in the world. They have an academy, and then a few others, Seoul Game Academy, Yeonpyeong Meditech High School, and Korean Scholastic Esports Federation are a few others. And these are key sponsors, typically in Korean tournaments and just generally tournaments in general. Kia Motors, Korean Air, Warri Bank, Samsung, huge Korean sponsors. They're Korean companies. They tend to sponsor most events. And then there's more, but here are a few others that have put up a budget or have stated that they sponsor esports events. We have MasterCard, Amazon, Red Bull has their own tournaments. Same with Logitech and Mercedes-Benz. And getting into it, we have a few discussion questions to sort of think about. First one is, as teams around the world copy Korean esports strategies, do you think this helps improve the global competition or makes the game less creative? And also, in what ways does Korean esports reflect values like discipline, hierarchy, and collectivism? And how do these compare to the values seen in Western esports or sports culture?